Hey, One Team One podcast back. Boy, Matt. We're gonna keep it. It'll be short again, but we're also gonna keep it slightly positive. I'm sure you've all been hearing all the shows and hearing everybody talk, and it's been extremely negative after the Ole Miss debacle. And obviously, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the defensive struggles, but I think he's still going to win tomorrow. So we'll talk about the Missouri game, kind of what I'm looking for. I tweeted something earlier today about kind of what I'm afraid of. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, I didn't think we were going to have the worst defense in LSU football history either. So we'll talk about that. As always, want to give a big shout out to all of our sponsors. Patrick Michelson over at High Residential Mortgage. Call Patrick directly. That's his cell phone number, 225-939-9878. Help you with all your mortgage needs or your refi needs. Rates are kind of going down a little bit right now. So now's a good time to give him a call, see what products are available, see if you can get a good interest rate locked in. Patrick does a fantastic job. Also, Lucas Ragusa over at River Cities Total Maintenance, NOLA-AC.com. Give him a call for all your AC, refrigeration, electrical, anything like that in the North Shore, New Orleans area, 504-841-3300. It is cold front coming through this weekend, so it's going to be a little cooler. You can open up those windows, do all that stuff. This is a great time to kind of get the AC checked out, get your heater checked out before the winter time. So give him a call over at River Cities Total Maintenance. Appreciate Lucas. Also, Bocock Brothers Cigars, BocockBrothers.com. You see Dylan Cruz. I may smoke one later actually today. So Bryant Bocock sent me a little care package this week. Appreciate those guys doing great things out of the Houston area. LSU grads, go check them out. You can find them at Churchill's Cigar Den, at Havana Port in Baton Rouge. Go check them out over there. You can get your hands on a few of them. Doing good things. Great cigars. I was smoking some at a golf tournament this weekend, or this week, I should say, and the guy I was with, he had never had one before, and he was like, "Man, this is a great cigar." I was like, "Yep, they do good work." So appreciate Bocock Brothers and all their help with the podcast. So all right, Ole Miss game. We suck on defense. Absolutely suck. Worst defense in LSU history. And a lot of people were trying to throw stats around, and I'm not bashing them or anything, but I'm just like, I don't need to see the stats. I saw what was going on. And I tweeted a few things during the game. After the first drive of Ole Miss, and I saw the defensive game plan, where basically you got guys two yards off the ball on the defensive line, playing very passive, basically, just hands out, not really rushing, just trying to see where the ball is going to go. And you have defensive backs already 10 yards off the ball. You're playing zone, a little bit of man mixed, but like mostly zone defense. You got linebackers dropping back. You were going to have to score 50 points. And I said that exactly. If we're going to play like this, we're going to need 50 points to win this game. And I'm not trying to tell you that I was right or anything, but it was that bad and that noticeable of how bad the defense is. I didn't think we were going to be good defense this year, but I didn't think we were going to be all-time bad either. So there's a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork today or this week and saying, "See, I told you LSU was overrated. Y'all hyped them up way too much." There's a lot of national people are saying that. That's bullshit. First of all, you're right, but you're not right for the reasons you thought you were right. Our offense is probably top 5 in the country, best in the SEC by far. Our defense is all-time level bad. Nobody thought that was happening. Nobody. I don't care if you're a Notre Dame fan or if you're a Florida State fan, you were talking shit. Nobody thought our defense was going to be the worst defense that LSU has ever put on the field. Nobody. And I'll show you my score predictions. This is my schedule prediction for the year before the season started, okay? And obviously, I shit the bed on the Florida State game. Did not see us quitting in the second half in the Florida State game. Didn't see any of that happen, and we lose the game. I thought it would be close. And we're up 17-14 at halftime. Could have been worse. Could have been 24-7. We were up. That would have been a different game, but obviously Grambling, blah blah blah. Grambling actually they scored 10 points on us, but they moved the ball more than I ever thought they would. Mississippi State, I didn't think they were going to be very good. Arkansas, they scored more than that. We were about that on that pace as far as scoring. Ole Miss, I thought we were going to lose that game, and I thought it was a trap a little bit. We're on the road. Our offense is going to be. This was exactly my thoughts before the season started. Our offense is going to be so good that we're going to be able to outscore teams. But if we run into a team with the offense that can game plan around us and say we're a little flat on defense, they can get you. And that's a team like Ole Miss. I did not think that we were going to be all-time bad on defense. I knew we were going to be suspect in the secondary, and we were going to have to score a lot of points, and it was going to be a little bit of a wild year. Never thought I would see a game like that. Ever. It's hard to put in words of how bad that was defensively. And, we're from LSU. We pride ourselves on defense. We've typically never had bad defenses. We've had a few years, of course, that everybody can name, like 2020 and 2008. We had a couple of years in there that we weren't great. I remember 2013. We weren't great. We had actually a really good offense that year with Odell and Jarvis and Met and Jeremy Hill, and the defense was very young. But not even close to this. Not even close. This was just pathetic. And I have some thoughts on the defense. I said this was going to be a positive podcast so far. Probably not. But I have some thoughts on the defense and why I think they're performing the way that they're performing. First things are, this is my opinion, and I'm not the film breakdown guy, but I can watch film and kind of see what I'm looking at and put my head together on it. But in my opinion, LSU came into this season, coaching staff wise, seeing the glaring weakness in the secondary. They saw it. They were like, "Oh shit, our secondary is bad. What are we going to do? How are we going to basically hide this and how bad our secondary is?" So what they decided to do, and I'm basing this off of last year. I've seen Matt House before, right? I've seen him play coach defense last year. So now I'm looking at this year. Okay, what's the big difference from last year to this year? Well, to me, it is our defensive backs are clearly not great. But what they've decided to do before I say that, what I would do if my defensive backs weren't great, and first of all, have we not seen them in practice blow zone coverages? Like, have we not seen that? Because if you have seen them blow zone coverages and then you decide to go to Ole Miss and you just say, "Hey, let's run zone. I think the zone will work here." What are we doing? I would run man to man. And I know Ole Miss runs man busters and all kinds of stuff. I get it. I completely understand. But I'm trying to not give up 713 yards is what I'm trying to do right now. Okay. So I'm putting a Band-Aid. I'm putting, like, what's that Flex Seal meme? That's what I'm doing right now. I am trying to keep the water from gushing, right? I'm playing man to man, cover 2, whatever you want to do. And I'm getting major pressure on the quarterback. And if you beat me, you beat me. But what's the fucking difference right now is my point. What is the difference? So what I think Madhouse went in and did is decided to change the scheme to cover up the weakness of the secondary. But by doing so what he did is he ran a whole bunch of zone. You're going to drop your linebackers back, including Harold Perkins. You're going to put him back in a zone defense. First of all, none of those guys know how to play it. None of them. They're getting lost. They don't know how to stay with guys in a zone. They're just standing there sometimes. It is brutal to watch. Brutal. But then our front seven, or say even our front four, are standing back. I think what this scheme has done, this passive scheme, it's created an effort issue. They're lazy. They can't tackle now. I think it has created a monster that is completely got away from Matt House. Completely. I think you got guys that have checked out. Deuce Chestnut left the team. I don't even know why, but I would assume it has something to do with probably not happy about things. I don't know. It looks like a fucking circus. You would think after Greg Brooks is in the damn hospital that they would play hard, but they aren't. Now, is this players that are not talented? That's kind of like an excuse we keep hearing. Is like, well, we don't have the talent. We've lost all these guys. Like, we're not experienced. I keep hearing that one too. We're not experienced. It's all bullshit, man. I think this starts with the scheme, and you've set these guys up to play soft. And guess what they're doing? They're playing soft. Mason Smith looks like a shell of himself right now. A complete shell. Omar Spates hurt. I get it. Weeks looks like he's playing hard. The three guys that I can see that are playing hard right now is Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins, Mekhi Wingo. Those are guys that I can see giving effort. I don't see them trailing or like standing straight up and taking on a block and bullshit like that, because that's what you're seeing out of a lot of these guys. They just look like they're not playing very hard. You got corners or safeties jogging behind guys who are sprinting. Like it's bad effort, and it showed on tape. Somebody said, oh, we should burn that tape. No, I don't want you to burn it. I want you to play it every day. And I want you to look at it, because you should be embarrassed by the effort that you gave. Now, let's get to the positives. Your offense is the best in the SEC. We were even, and I tweeted this today, even with the worst defense in LSU history of all time, even with all that, you were up by 9 points with 6 minutes left. 9 points. You were up. You had control of that game. And we did. We played a little conservative. And it cost us because our defense couldn't stop at anything. And, I really, really don't want to criticize anything that the offense did, because when you have to play this way, you have no room for error. And we've seen it before under the Les Miles days. The defense never had any room for error. And what we would do as fans the Monday after the game, if we lost a close one in the Les Miles days, we would start breaking down. I call it breaking down the breakdowns. We would break down the breakdowns of how the defense let that score happen. And you know what? Fuck that. Those guys had to play perfect all game long because the offense was atrocious. Well, guess what's happening now? The offense has to score a touchdown every drive because we don't know what's going to happen with the defense. So, my fear for the game against Missouri is that Brian Kelly sees, of course, not sees, but to help the defense, is that he may tinker with the offense a little bit. Get into a more ball control. And and maybe it may end up being a little bit too conservative. That's my fear. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what I'm worried about. Okay. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that we're going to just give Jaden the ball, and just go. And we got wide receivers that nobody can guard. And let's just go shoot it out. Let's score as many points as we can and see if we can get back into that situation where we had the ball in the second half. We were able to take control. We were able to do all those things. I really liked the way that our offense handled all that pressure last week because there was a shit ton of it. But they handled it. They kept scoring. They kept doing what they were going to do, and they knew they were better than Ole Miss. And that's the LSU attitude that we should have. But we're playing with the other side of the ball that I have no idea what's going to show up. I have no idea. So I'm thinking that we're going to be able to just go. We may have to go for it on fourth downs, man. Like you're gonna have to take some chances. You can't give them the ball. I don't know what kind of like difference a Pete Jenkins can make in this game. Um, you know, I'm seeing some laziness out of the defensive line, starting with Mason Smith, and it's scary to watch. I hate it. I don't like it at all. And I don't know if he's still hurt, but you have to play. Like you're playing too high. Like you're just standing there. You're not getting any push. If not, you're getting pushed. Dominated is a word that I would use. You're getting dominated up front. It's just sad to see on the defensive side because you just didn't think this was going to happen. Nobody thought this would happen. We watched last year. Our defense wasn't great last year, but we watched the defense, and they had some good games. They had some bad games. Well, Arkansas game when they were playing up against a backup quarterback, but we were lights out. Mississippi State this year. I know that's Mississippi State, and I actually think Mississippi State's trash. So, like, here's an example of Mississippi State being trash. Alabama just beat the shit out of Mississippi State, so Alabama's going to Texas A&M. Alabama's still favored by 2.5. I think A&M beats down Alabama. Well, I shouldn't say beat down. 7 to 10 points. I think they win against Alabama. I don't think Alabama's that good. I think Mississippi State's making a lot of people look like the New England Patriots. I don't think they're good. So I think we matched up really well against the Mississippi State. We did not match up well against, well, that's an understatement of the year. We did not match up well against Ole Miss yet. No shit. I don't think we match up well against Missouri. I think they're going to go fast. I think they're going to throw the ball around. I think they're going to, play with tempo. I think they're going to be innovative on offense. And our guys are going to get lost. And guess what you got to do? You got to score a lot of fucking points. And you can't waste your opportunities. Unfortunately, you're going to have all that pressure back on the offense again. So, my score prediction for this game, and look, let me show you. I'm full transparency here. Here's my schedule prediction before the season started. I have had us beating Missouri. A lot of people were saying that was the big trap game was Missouri. I wasn't buying it then. I had us winning 34-24. Two things have changed. All right, 34-24. Two things have changed. Our offense is better than I thought. Much better than I thought. Our defense is so much worse than I thought. So much worse. So my score prediction for this game, though, is 41-38. LSU wins. Close game, shootout, and it could be higher. It could be higher. I would take the over all day long. I think it's 65.5 right now. I would hammer the over. I don't know what defense is going to show up. I don't think they're going to be inspired or anything like that. Can they get a couple of stops? Maybe. I think there was a couple of opportunities that they had. I mean, these third and longs are just nuts. It's been like this all year. Third and longs, just like you may as well just move the chains. So I have no faith in our defense right now. I think it's going to be a long year, and it's going to be a lot of shootouts like this. We're Oklahoma State. We're Oklahoma State now. We score a lot of points, and we give up a lot of points. You may have some more 50 games. Who we do match up well against, though? We match up well against Alabama. I'll say that. We match up well against Alabama. I think that that's a game that we can still win because our offense is so good. and their offense isn't great. So if we run up against a team that their offense isn't great, I think that we can really put it to some teams. Auburn's a good example. Florida's a good example. I think there's a lot of winnable games in this schedule. This one scares me to death because their offense is so good, and we're just going to be in a track meet all game. So are we going to be flat ever for offense? Our offense, is it ever going to be flat? I don't know. I have no idea. Are we walking into a hornet's nest at 11 o'clock in Columbia? I have no idea. Zero idea. So 41-38 LSU over Missouri. It's been a long week, guys. Really long week. I feel like we need to play another game so bad right now. Like we need to go play another game and just get it out of our system. But that was an all-time tough one for me to watch. I put that game up with the 7 overtime A&M game as one of the toughest losses, and for different reasons. That A&M game stung in a few different other ways. It was like, we won the game a few times in the game, and A&M is just, they were trashy and all of that. Like, it was just a hard game to take as an LSU fan. This one, to me, it was equal to that, but because our defense looked the way it did. And that is something that we really don't tolerate here, is bad defensive play, for long periods of time, I should say. Like, we've had it happen a couple of times, but for the most part, I'm going back to the 50s. Our defense has always been really good. And it's hard for us to handle that, to lose a game where our offense is so good and our defense is complete trash. It's tough pill to swallow for us. I mean, we literally just watched the Saints on the very next day lose a game in the opposite fashion, where their defense is pretty good and their offense is terrible. And we've been that way during the Les Miles days, that our offense was not good. Those are easier for me to take than this one. That the defensive style and all that is just hard to take. And I even went back. I was talking to a friend of mine about Brian Kelly. I was like, man, Brian Kelly's defenses, I don't remember them at Notre Dame being like undisciplined, poor effort, out of position. This is not, something is up with that, and I don't know if it has to do with the Jimmy Lindsey stuff. Secondaries, just, you missed severely on guys to where you are covering up your weaknesses. But in my opinion, instead of covering up your weaknesses, you need to play to your strengths. And I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're doing the opposite. I think they're just trying to, I don't know what they expected. Like, going into the Ole Miss game, and I hate doing this. I feel like I just keep going back to this. But going back to the Ole Miss, I'm probably going to talk about the Ole Miss game for the rest of the fucking year. But going back to the Ole Miss game, what did you think that you were going to be able to do defensively against them? Like, what was your thought going into the game that, okay, we have a solid game plan and we're going to be able to do this, this, and this? Like, you serious with that? Like, are you kidding me? That is inept coaching. That is the worst defensive game plan I've ever seen. I get that players missed a whole bunch of tackles. Completely get it. But you are putting them in awful, awful positions. You're not playing up to their strengths at all. Okay. Let me get off of that. We're going to beat the fuck out of Missouri. How about that? We're going to beat Missouri. We're going to score a lot of points. We're going to come out with a road victory, coming home against Auburn. Man, that'll be fun. I also had to tweet that I have no hate towards Missouri. I usually do a Missouri hate week. I couldn't do that this week. I don't hate Missouri. Are they the least hateable in the SEC? You got Vanderbilt, but I hate Vanderbilt baseball. So I don't hate anything about Missouri. So that was hard. It was a hard week for me to take. First of all, I'm coming off of this Ole Miss game, and I'm ready to beat the shit out of somebody. Really talk trash to somebody, and you can't even talk trash to them because I don't know anything about them. I know they're going to score a lot of points. Do you know that? All right. So again, 41-38 LSU. LSU is going to take to Missouri. Post your scores in the YouTube chat. Also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Let us know what your thoughts are on the game. Like and subscribe too if you're watching on YouTube. I'd appreciate that. Give me some likes. Again, appreciate my sponsors over here. We got Patrick Michelson at Highlands Residential Mortgage. Call him 225-939-9878. He can get you a good rate right now. Also, Lucas Ragusa over at River Cities Total Maintenance, 504-841-3300, NOLA-AC.com. Bocock Brothers Cigars, BocockBrothers.com, hashtag BeCocky. Go check them out. They're at a few locations here in Baton Rouge, or go to their website, BocockBrothers.com. I appreciate those guys, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Check me out. I keep going weekly here. Been getting off a little early on Fridays, so I'm able to knock this out on Fridays. So I'd like to get it maybe in the middle of the week if I can, but kind of running into life. Life is happening. So appreciate you guys for joining in, and go Tigers. Talk to you guys next week. It's been One Team, One Podcast. Logan out.